I have actually taken over New World, and I am leading it along with a new leadership.
Oh, no! Please! Please! We need someone with talent! We need more content release! We need to stop with those preview map and get real stuff, please.
Team, which includes Dan as our creative director. Joel is our product owner for seasons and progression. So they'll be answering some of the questions to me today. And there's a few other folks.
Scot Lane is probably gone to do Lord of the Ring. I hope. I really hope we're gonna have Lord of the Ring, like, people talking about this soon. I mean, like, bro, we need, like, New World, but re-release into Lord of the Ring with a whole new world, but with the same combat system and with the mount and stuff. Imagine how the mount interact in New World when there's two big Zerg of horse hitting each other. It looked like Lord of the Ring. They can just keep that stuff but put it into the Lord of the Ring world, bro. Like,
that have taken over some leadership roles. Very excited for that. We're the ones that brought you the living roadmap, and that is our vision for what we see for New World Aeternum.
Okay, you brought me the roadmap, but even if I like the content in the roadmap, what I don't like is the preview. Bro, can you just give us some content instead of like making last as long as possible? Like, you speak about a map and you release it 3 to 4 months after. Like, we need content, guys. Like, New World is dry. There's like the CTF map. Where is the map? Can we just play? Can we just play the 3v3 map? We all know the map is ready.
Looking ahead. So that's where we see the next season, the things that are definitely coming to you within the next couple months. And then we have the things that we currently have in development because we want to be transparent with you about what we currently are working on, and then things that are in exploration. Those are the things that we're really excited about. They're things that we're talking about. We're coming up with some initial designs, maybe a little bit of prototyping, maybe just conversations around it, seeing if we should do it. But yeah, so that was us, and we're really excited. And as far as where Scott is, he has moved to another adventure within Amazon Games.
Lord of the
Will there be
Ring.
additional ways to obtain the new craft mods added? The current lack of alternative methods to obtain them beyond aptitude boxes has caused them to be priced astronomically high compared to anything a normal craft mod is priced at.
So that one's me. So we are currently looking and heavily focused on the progression team on in-game rewards. One of those things is how gear interacts with the player and really encouraging players to chase and want to build sets of gear, that they interact with our gear in a unique way to be able to build something or build out different loadouts, different gameplay styles. You're seeing us experiment with some of those things like artifacts already in the past, and we want to emulate more of that type of feeling. As for the perk items, that's something that we're heavily looking at across the board. You should see something in the next few seasons that is going to address this, and it's just our first step in really building that system out.
Wait, few season? If one season is 4 months, if we take 5 season, it's 20 months, it's 2 years. Few season is 2 years, bro.
There are a lot of archetypes possible in this game with all the different weapons, but I don't see a weapon designed for assassination. Is this something that could be in the game one day with how the game works? I know a lot of people, including...
Listen, if you're a New World game dev, you need to listen to that. You know what is really easy to do? Instead of creating a whole character animation, I'm gonna give you an idea for ability. You must keep that, okay? Imagine you're an assassin. You got like dagger or whatever. Boom, you become a shadow. You become a circle on the ground that is a shadow, your shadow, and you're moving into your shadow. It's really easy to do if you think about it, New World devs. A shadow moving onto the ground. Your character, poof, he become a shadow into the ground, move during a certain moment, and bang, he's gonna pop out where he want to, and he's gonna have a maximum limit of that, maybe like 3 seconds to 10 seconds. You see, I think 3 to 5 seconds could be enough. You just like go into the shadow, gain like 20 to 30 movement speed, be immune, move under someone and pop out of the shadow and hit with your dagger. Like, it's really easy to do. I don't think I've seen that into many games, so you guys can just take it and don't even pay me for it.
Me are waiting for this.
Yeah, I mean, as far
Facebook,
as if there could be
notification.
something specific to this a weapon in the future, yeah, definitely. It's something that we talk about pretty often. We did announce that we are working on a new weapon, and while we don't have too much to give right now as far as what the weapon is and what it's going to do, I know that we've tossed around words like roguelike, like stealth. Not that these are specific to that upcoming weapon, but it is something that we are also very interested in. So I very much enjoy sneaking up on other players whenever possible and dealing a lot of damage when I can.
Hey, stop lying.
Morganite.
Stop lying. Can you really sneak up on a player and deal a lot of damage? Pfft, you gotta show me that, guys. You gotta show me your gameplay. I don't believe it.
Weapon schematics. When?
Season 9. Yes.
There you have it, folks.
When will we see new events that are not copy and paste every year?
So that one is me again. So events are definitely something that we find to be very important, but right now, and you'll see a consistent trend, I think, as I already answered a question about this, ultimately, we really want to focus first and foremost with our group on the in-game rewards and the in-game day-to-day content. That doesn't mean that we're going to stop with events.
Can you give us 725 gear into the mutation? Finally, please. Like, I mean, can I do a M3 and drop 725 gear? Thanks.
We already are adding new gear and rewards, and we'll keep updating those for the foreseeable future. But before we focus on the minute-to-minute gameplay of those, we really want to focus on the day-to-day gameplay across the entire in-game spectrum of the game. So that is priority number 1 for the progression group before we start to look at seasonal events and making sure that those get a new fresh paint-up coat. Ooh, dyslexia.
No, leave that in.
Yeah, we should. That was fun. But that doesn't mean that we will always have new rewards for them. We're not going to abandon that part, but we really want to focus on the end game first.
Yeah,
That's
I think
fine.
that's really the takeaway there is that, you know, we do know and believe that the in-game events are absolutely important, but where we're focusing right now is on the end game.
So right now, our combat balance cadence is we do our massive package of balance changes on a seasonal basis, and then we do spot checks throughout the season. Some notable examples of that from recent.
Okay, guys, you're gonna understand something. Combat balancing is not something that exists, okay? I'm gonna take other video game as example. Let's take Call of Duty as example. When they're gonna nerf a weapon, they most of the time gonna make another weapon stronger. And why? Because they want to sell skins. They want to sell like the armor that go with it. There's some bundle that have nice weapon into it, and some people want to play, oh look, this bow looks so good, I need a bow like this. And then you see they want the people to play multiple roles and buy all their pack and stuff, and this is why the meta rotate. If you look carefully, you're gonna see that New World is kind of balanced right now. It doesn't really need balanced. They just always speak about balancing because it's good for them. But I don't think for the New World community, they kind of ask that all the time, because when you're done with building your gear, the last thing you want is the meta change, so you lose all your gear and need to create a build again. I don't care about the meta change because for me, it's just more YouTube video. I just gotta inform myself, create a video about it. But for the normal people, I know that it's exhausting.
Recent past would be like the Burninator issue or the Elemental Band issue before that. We are actively in recurring conversations on a week-to-week basis to talk about combat balance. It is critical. In terms of a cadence, it's basically what we have now, but we are going to continue to monitor and make sure that the metas that we introduce with our new artifacts and perks kind of stay under control. We like artifacts and perks. We like that we're constantly changing up the game. We know that that's a downside of that approach, but we think it's worth it.
Yeah, and the other piece of this is we have these previews for new game modes, and we want to make sure that when we make these meta changes or when we make these adjustments that are going to change power in the world, we also want to make sure that it's still fun and exciting for those game modes. So I will say that while we want to update very frequently to make sure that we're addressing the community's biggest concerns, this is also something where we want to make sure that we're getting all of the data in order to make the best decision. And that includes after our previews have ended.
But wait, there's more.
Wait, you're speaking about fixing the community biggest concern, but the blunderbuss is still kind of OP when you think about it. And like with the aim lock is still too strong. Whatever you did with the aim lock, it didn't work. And you can clearly see that there's some people with the Void Gauntlet dealing a bit too much damage compared to the other people. And I think this is what you guys should focus on this time.
So with a lot of the overhaul that we're doing for gear, there's also going to be a very large meta shift in the next couple seasons. So that's also going to take some time to stabilize. We don't want to make drastic changes, but we will absolutely, as Dan said, making adjustments on high impact items, such as, like you said, the Burninator and the Elemental Band. But there's going to be
The Sundering Stack is a nice meta shift. I like those things like that. I think they added a bunch of new perks that are great. But I don't know if they're gonna be able to keep going like that. Like they don't have Scot Lane anymore. I'm scared, guys.
very large meta shift, and we're going to want to wait to see how that plays out as players learn it when we do those big updates for rewards. We think it's going to be very good for content overall, though.
The Season 8 countdown timer in the past rewards section says 56 days left till the end of the season. Does that mean Season 9 will begin in July?
That is an incorrect number of days. So that was a bug, and it's going to be fixed.
Can you comment on the decision to make Expeditions Unleashed active only 1 week per month? It initially sounded like this was going to be a permanent addition to the game, which was very encouraging given the community's desire for new daily content.
Yeah, so obviously what we have now is a starting point. We have 5 bosses in, and we're going to rotate them, but we also
Okay, but I like the boss thing. I like the boss in open world. But if this is not a PvP server, if we are not fighting around that boss, for me it's not the same. You see what I mean? Like, without the PvP server, those world boss lose a lot of their potential. Like, for me, onto the PvP server, I see it as a clip potential. I don't care that much about the item. I want to fight around it. But right now, the PvP server, there's none. And people in PvE server, they don't put PvP on. It's just not worth it. And people cannot res you. So, like, it's bad.
we needed to make sure that we had a pretty organized live content schedule for Season 8. But, you know, we totally reserve the right to see what happens, maybe change up the cadence, which we can do pretty in real time.
The foundation is built, and that's something we're absolutely going to look at exploring. And I think that there's a lot of room for us to grow this type of content depending on player reception. But this is just the first stab. This is us really taking a look at these bosses and seeing what makes them fun, what makes them tick, and are these the right rewards. Absolutely is something we can address in this.
Okay, I like it, but like I say, if you want to make them better, make a PvP server, and please focus on capture the flag map. Put like 4 to 5 capture the flag map, 4 to 5 outpost rush map, 4 to 5 3v3 map. This is what you need to be healthy, and then start thinking about the rest. I like those world boss, it's a good idea, but like I say, without the PvP server, I just don't know, man.
In the future, though.
Said we want to make sure that we have the scheduling accurate, that everything is working as intended. And as Dan, you mentioned, this is all configurable. We can move them so that they're happening more frequently. So that's something that we wanted to make sure that we had the ability to do, because we feel strongly that we'll want to make those adjustments. So that is a conversation that we are actually having.
Can we expect a territory standing rework?
There's a lot that we would like to do. There's a lot of different ideas on the table. But where we've landed with it is, I think that the first step that makes the most sense is to focus on pickup wars as a feature.
Yes.
Because the biggest problem with the territory system is that there's not enough war to go around. There's not enough content there.
Get more people into wars.
Yeah, and then so if we get pickup wars out, not only does it address that problem the most directly,
Yes.
But it also gives companies a way to practice wars whenever they want, spin up wars whenever they want, and try out new fighters whenever.
Bro, I don't even want to be into a company. I don't even care about being into a company. I want to join war to do 1v3, 1v4, 1v6. Bro, team play is fun, but I want to be able to queue into a 50 versus 50 and do my own things too. That sounds pretty fun. I like the team play. I'm a competitive player. I like playing in my line where the people want me to be, but you know it's gonna be different.
They want a really effective way. So that's the first step in terms of what we do with the territory system. And then once that's out, we'll have a look at the actual open world territory system for guilds.
Yeah, and one thing that has remained in the backlog, and again, in full transparency, it's not something that we have planned, but I know that it's something that I have wanted, and it's something that I know players have talked about, but timing-wise, development planning-wise, it just doesn't make sense right now from just a production standpoint, is the card system. So updating that card system so we can go back and change where we put all of our territory standing points and all that. So that's something that I know would be really interesting, and it would give us...
This is too much work for you. You're gonna... Listen, that would be fun. I would like to see a new perk here and there and maybe be able to reset, but this is not what matter. What matter is content, so the people come into your game. Your territory standing system is working. We all know that if you change something in your if you change something into your territory system, you're gonna make the game bug for 3 years and you're not gonna be able to fix it, okay? Please just add content that is relevant, so you only have to fix things that are relevant, please.
This different dynamic for how we kind of manage and manipulate the way that our character lives in the world. But again, that's not something that we are actively working on, but it is something that's in the backlog.
It's one of the ones that we've actually looked into in the past, and it's just more expensive than it needs to be.
It's more expensive than you think it would be.
And yeah, it's another question kind of looked like it was about QOL stuff, but it's in general we kind of have to go step by step. So in terms of QOL, the next big thing we're going to do is the global storage changes.
Yeah.
That's 100% of players deal with that pain every day. So it's we got to work our way down the list in order.
Can you clarify whether selling carries is permitted under the TOS? And more broadly, whether this aligns to your intent for how the game should be played?
Yeah, so selling carries is not our intention for how this, how it should work, that you can sell a carry for the raid or mutations. But that's kind of part and parcel for an MMO, that does happen in that ecosystem.
What they will not tell you is they keep the people... I think they keep gold selling. They like gold selling. They like those type of pay to win advantage that the people can just swipe, give money to someone, and then it carry them into the game, okay? With this, they will sell more skin, because by attracting pay to win people, they're gonna attract people who gonna buy skin, people with money, okay?
What we're looking at instead is how to make it easier for people to join. those different pieces of content. How do we get you into a raid so that you don't have to purchase a carry, so that you can join other people? So that's actually what we're looking into.
So she just said that she's gonna rework the matchmaking, try to make a matchmaking so people can do worm together and stuff. It's gonna be long, hard, and buggy, guys.
Looking for raid, looking for group, and making that a more streamlined process to get more folks in.
Yeah, I believe the Living Roadmap has raid difficulties on there, and that's something that we're very passionate about. We want to make sure that all players get a chance to get into this content, not just an elite few. It's not as fun when you're getting dragged through versus actually accomplishing that with either peers or a feeling where your group is actually being challenged, and we want to make sure that we get that for all types of players.
Why
It's just not fun. You see, making a group of 20 people to run a worm that lasts 7 to 15 minutes is just not fun. That's it. You can do it. We all know you can just go onto Discord, New World PvE, create a world build, wait into the line and get a ticket. But is it fun? Like, I know you want the gains and the reward to feel stronger than the other people, and you really want to have an edge. So having those special perks that they give into Worm make you do that. But we all know that it's just not fun content. Like, if you only had to queue and do it, that would be fun. But right now, making the 20 people group and teaching them, man, that's a work and you're not paid for it.
isn't there more variety and better looking transmogs, like actual cute girly ones?
We've actually been talking about that
There's no booga.
recently, and there are some new offerings that are in the pipe for the summer, which are pretty cool.
Yep.
Can you make worm armor craftable?
That is something that we are looking at. As a whole, we are looking at overhauling all of in-game rewards, especially for in-game pinnacle content. You should see a change there in the next couple of seasons. Stay tuned. We definitely have big plans.
Wait, but if they made the worm gear craftable, does that mean you're gonna have to get the materia from it like the mutation? That would make sense, kinda, but you're still gonna have to make the 20 people raid to get them.
Please tell us something about Umbral V2 or how future gearing will be done. Content gearing relies too much on the hoplite gear.
Umbral is something that we are very passionate about. I think that the old system had flaws, and the dark matter system also has its own flaws. We are heavily looking at taking some of those lessons between both of those systems.
The flaw was more into the content you guys was putting into that era and the amount of bug into the content. Being able to grind M3 and sell the item from the entry to people and have some base gear like this was fine. There's no problem into that.
We want to make it more systemic. We want to make sure that it's much easier to use. We also want to make sure that Umbral as a whole is spread out more, so you have different ways to get it across different content. One of the failures of the first Umbral system is most of it was in, not all of it, but most of it was in expeditions, and those players ended up with thousands of it. And that's the other thing. We don't want to end up with a player just sitting on stacks of it, so it's a worthless currency. So we are actually looking at the new version of Umbral becoming a literal currency versus an item. I think that's one of the things that we'll go into in the future. Beyond that, we also want to make sure it feels like it is a very direct goal for you on a week-to-week cadence where I know exactly I can go to these 5 places, I can get some amount of Umbral, it feels valuable, it feels like it's valuing my time, and that I always know that the gear that I'm getting post that update will be usable with Umbral. It'll be systemic. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a specific named item or a specific artifact. Everything at that gear score level that we define with the new system will be something that you can level up.
Yeah, we've got like
That sounds good.
like a crazy conspiracy map of all the endgame content in the game, and we've like kind of crafted our big strategy around like how do we make it all matter. Umbrals is key to that.
Yes.
Will console-only characters ever be given the chance to swap over to crossplay in any form?
So I am going to assume that this question is asking if you're a console player on a console-only world, are you going to be able to go to a crossplay world within your region? That is something that we are actively working on and targeting Season 9.
What they are saying is if they are on console, can they change their account? Can they take their console account and send it to Steam? Share PlayStation and Steam account together.
For when you will be able to do that.
Yeah.
If you mean cross progression, that's different.
Yeah, your
Yeah,
account doesn't
cross-progression's
transfer from a console to a PC. Those are separate.
Yeah, and that's not so we are, if it's talking about a console-only world to a crossplay world to play with PC players on a more populated world, then that is something that is in the works. If it is cross-progression that you're asking about, that is not something that we are working on.
Any news on invasions? Anything? Bueller?
Like I was saying before, pickup war in terms of that specific part of instanced content, pickup war is our top priority.
Thank you, please. Thank you. I don't want to hear about invasion. I don't even want to see them. People don't even do proper payout for invasion. When I do an invasion, I hope to get like 3K. But people right now, instead of giving 3K to everyone like I was doing when I had a company, now they're gonna do like a raffle, and only like 3 people gonna win into that raffle, and sometimes they have some chance to choose their friend instead of doing a real raffle.
We started prototyping and designing out what we were going to do with casual invasions, and it's a cool design. It's going to really freshen it up as well as make it more accessible to more players. It'll be like on the pug system.
More payful?
But we had to decide one or the other. So we decided pickup war for.
You need to take off the money from the end of the people who control the territory. Take their money off their end, or take like 70% of their money off and distribute the money of the territory to people who run PvP mission, to the people who do invasion, people who do war. You see, each one of those is supposed to have a payout around 3K. If you push 10 mission for influence race, you deserve 3K. And I don't think if your company is not paying you 3K for pushing a territory, they are into the wrong, and AGS is not gonna make them pay you. You're just into a toxic relationship.
For right now, PvE players will have tons coming soon, but it's the order of operations there is pickup war, and then we'll come back to that.
What kind of investments for PvP are you making, and what data did you get from the first PvP server? If there's another, what are your plans for addressing that data, and do you see a long-term opportunity for a PvP server?
So we got a lot of data around the seasonal server, and you're going to see this with the second seasonal server. One of the first things that we knew going into it, but we were able to address a little bit better in the second server, we want to make these feel more like events, almost like a game mode. We want to be able to break the rules in a way that would potentially be detrimental to the main game, but we do want to make sure.
We want a PvP server. Just close one of your server. Close, you see, I'm in Pangea. Close Pangea. Delete Pangea. Pangea don't exist anymore, and you create another server that is PvP only, or do it with Valhalla or with Scot Lane. You just take one of those main core server and you delete it and you put a PvP server instead. That is not seasonal, please.
Sure that they're isolated and not splitting the player base so much. So the second seasonal server is going to be a much smaller time span. It's much more expedited. We did kind of a fun, silly quest with Aelstrom that just gets you through. I think it's like 2 to 4 hours. A slower player might take 6, but a really good player that knows how to go farm things is going to be very quick.
Slower players are not inherently bad.
I didn't say
Just
bad.
enjoy it.
I am a farmer, but I'm also a troll and a PvP ganker. So yes. But I think that those are the biggest lessons we learned. We really want to make sure that these feel like fun, game mode-esque experiences. Beyond that, as a PvP server as a whole, it's something that we do want to revisit in the future. It's not currently in front of us, but it is something that we feel we learned a lot from Ethereal Gear and Conqueror's Gear. And we want to experiment with that, and I think there's a lot of things we can do both in a seasonal capacity or in potentially live services as something that exists for the normal Prime worlds.
Great, and then we're also while we talk about PvP, that's one of our focuses when we come to the game modes. So the PvP game modes are something that we are absolutely investing in and something that we want to keep doing. We have another preview for Capture the Flag coming out. We also have the Bare Bones OPR happening. So
I'm happy, but I'm not happy about the preview thing. You guys, listen, we know that it's ready. You played the Capture the Flag map. It was great. It was perfect. Can you just give us the map, please, and then pass onto another project? Nah, you're already working onto another project. But this map, you just use it as a bait, just to make us feel like you're releasing content. But your content is like already released, but it's delayed by yourself. So it's like, give me something, please, and you're just not getting it.
there's a lot of fun stuff happening in addition to the PvP server, and so we're gathering a lot of information from what's fun for you, and then also looking at what that looks like on our end for the future, right? Is this something that we can implement again, and
Please.
you guys will feel rewarded when we do that, or is this something where we need to put our focus elsewhere? So make sure that you participate in those preview weekends because it really helps us. And
I maybe not gonna participate into the weekend of this seasonal server because I'm not sure if I wanna encourage that. I want a PvP server. Maybe I'm gonna do it because I'm a YouTuber and I need content. But am I willing to encourage this to give me a PvP server? They made something great and then they just took it off from me. I don't understand. And they had a couple nice new weapon in that PvP server, like the great axe that make you better. Man, that was nice. Like, why do you don't keep it like that?
in the seasonal server because it really helps us figure out what you want to do. Yeah, so thank you for joining us for this community Q&A Forged in Aeternum. If you liked what you saw, make sure to like and subscribe. We appreciate your time. Normally we don't do a community question with these ones, but I'm going to do one anyway.
Thank you. You guys are pretty nice, but like I said, what we need, okay, more release of map. This is simple. Just release more map, OPR, capture the flag. The meta is fine. We don't really need that much balancing. Like I said, Blunderbuss and Void Blade is a bit too hard, you know. But other than that, like, I mean, it's fine. Just release content. Try to make sure it don't lag. That could be a nice thing, you know. And then please put us a PvP server always on. That would be a nice thing too. And then into the dungeon, can you just put 725 gear or 7010, like say, some gear that you can drop and do dungeon to feel reward for it? Because right now it's just boring. Like, I want to do mutation, but at the same time I feel like I'm wasting my time doing it. So yeah, keep trying to value my time. Keep listening to what we have to say because it's important. But take care because a lot of people gonna cry loud for no reason. They're gonna ask for stuff that are looking simple, but nobody really want them. So yeah, like the combat balance. Like, yes, everyone asks combat balance, stuff like that, but there is some stuff way more important than that, and it's just adding new content. So on this, I want to thank everyone who watched this video. I'm gonna react to more into the future. I wish you a good day. Peace out.